any issue when they're silly enough to accept this law.
When he saw an opportunity, he grabbed it, and I suspect that they sensed that the McClellan Committee, even though labor was a big factor, nevertheless there was the chance to be in the center of things.
I think it is clear that we are not going to get rid of the Dave Becks and the Jimmy Hoppers in this country until we also get rid of the Nathan Shefferman and other employer agents who use the verse and means.
In 1958, Kennedy again won his Senate seat by the widest margin in Massachusetts history. But already, he had further plans. Already had enlisted the help of a young investigator and former journalist he had met during the Hoffa hearings, Pierre Salinger.
And so in September of 1959, I resigned from the Senate Labor Rackets Committee, and with a small group of people moved into an office in the Esso building. It was a very tiny little building at the foot of Capitol Hill. We were about 8, and on the door it said the office of Stephen E. Smith. It was a well-camouflaged pre-election office, and by that time I had talked to John and Robert Kennedy, and I had received my assignment, which was to prepare the press campaign for the 1960 election.
I am today announcing my candidacy for the presidency of the United States.
AllNet long distance, bargain rates, not bargain service.
Fasten your seatbelts, you're going on a trip.
We're sending you back to the future.
The future is here on video cassette from MCA. Take home the movie that blew America away and drove audiences wild.
An absolute dream. Is this the business?
The hottest thing to come to the screen. Steven Spielberg presents a Robert Zemeckis film. Back to the Future, now on video and in stores everywhere.
This place is jumping, Toyota's jumping. We got the deals on your favorite wheels, cause now the place is jumping.
The place is jumping at your Toyota dealers. It's the biggest sales event in Toyota history. We're out to move over 100,000 of America's #1 selling car and truck imports. Celicas, Camrys, 4x4s, turbos.
This place is hopping. There ain't no stopping. This is the spot. The deals are hot. Cause now the place is jumping.
What's this? Rye Crisp. The Body Cracker Fiber Rich Rye Crisp. The Body Cracker Fiber Fit Taste This 25 calorie Rye Crisp. Rye Crisp. The Body Cracker. Healthy diet, healthy, try it. Rye Crisp. The Body Cracker. Eating right, eating light, fiber fitness, taste delicious, flavor cracker, fiber cracker, Rye Crisp, the Body Cracker.
Now the Democratic candidate. John Kennedy's opening salvo in the presidential campaign would be his acceptance speech at the party convention in Los Angeles.
Let me say first that I accept the nomination of the Democratic Party. I accept it without reservation and with only one obligation. The obligation to devote every effort of my mind and spirit to lead our party back to victory and our nation to greatness. I am grateful, too, that I can rely in the coming months on many others, on a distinguished running mate who brings unity and strength to our platform and our ticket, Lyndon Johnson. On my traveling companion in Wisconsin and West Virginia, Senator Hubert Humphrey. We know it will not be easy to campaign against a man who has spoken and voted on every side of every issue. Mr. Nixon may feel that it's his turn now, after the New Deal and the Fair Deal. But before he deals, someone's going to cut the cards.
For all his youthful energy and eloquence, Kennedy suffered critical handicaps. He was still a new figure in national politics. Still seemed a stylish alien on the street corners of Middle America. Still faced a press 80% Republican-owned. In Richard M. Nixon, he would confront a formidable opponent better known as a national leader after his years as vice president, an experienced and often pitiless political infighter.
The Republican candidate for the presidency is running on a platform that you've never had it so good. I think we can do better. I think we are a great country, but we can be a greater country. And I think we're a powerful country, but I think we can be more powerful. And the Democratic Party says of the 60s, yes, we want to move forward. And the Republican Party has said in the last 8 years, as it has said in every administration in this century, it has said no to progress. It has vetoed progress. It has had a program of no new start. And on education and housing and distressed areas and employment, this country has been standing still.
But the Catholic issue, beaten back in the West Virginia primary, remained an ugly hazard.
We knew that some of the well-organized bigots in the country were already at work spreading the word. If he became president, the Pope would arrive shortly thereafter in the United States.
God be merciful unto us and bless us.
In characteristic style, Kennedy responded. He met the challenge head-on. Flying to Houston, he would next challenge American anti-Catholic prejudice before a conference of Protestant clergy.
While the so-called religious issue is necessarily and properly the chief topic here tonight, I want to emphasize from the outset that I believe that we have far more critical issues in the 1960 campaign. But because I am a Catholic, and no Catholic has ever been elected president, the real issues in this campaign have been obscured, perhaps deliberately, in some quarters less responsible than this. So it is apparently necessary for me to state once again, not what kind of church I believe in, for that should be important only to me, but what kind of America I believe in. I believe in an America that is officially neither Catholic, Protestant, nor Jewish, where no public official either requests or accepts instructions on public policy from the Pope, the National Council of Churches, or any other ecclesiastical source. And this is the kind of America I fought for in the South Pacific and the kind my brother died for in Europe. No one suggested then that we might have a divided loyalty, that we did not believe in liberty, or that we belonged to a disloyal group that threatened, I quote, the freedoms for which our forefathers died. And in fact, this is the kind of America for which our forefathers did die. When they fought at the shrine I visited today, the Alamo. For side by side with Bowie and Crockett died Fuentes and McCafferty and Bailey and Bedillo and Carey, but no one knows whether they were Catholics or not, for there was no religious test there. I am not the Catholic candidate for president. I am the Democratic Party's candidate for president, who happens also to be a Catholic. I do not speak for my church on public matters, and the church does not speak for me. For without reservation, I can, and I quote, solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve